Hey, Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Trying to get my earbuds to work. Hold on.
Yeah, take your time.
Thanks for clarifying the date. Um,
Yeah, all good. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Muskoka right now.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I got it working. We're good now.
All good. Perfect. Um, so I'm super excited to chat with you and I appreciate you taking a few minutes. I know you work really closely with other members of my team and I kind of get bits and pieces of those stories and love to follow up and hear about your experience more, both with your launch and working with the team, and then just any feedback you might have. So I have some questions for you and
Mhm.
we can start there. And then if there's anything else that you feel like is important at the end, we can definitely leave some time and come back to it.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So I know a little bit about your campaign from Soren and Hera and from looking at your Kickstarter page. And I think this one is very cool with the conversation cards and just the family experiences it can create. But I would love to hear kind of in your words, just a little bit about your product and why you're excited about it or what made you want to put it out there.
For sure. Apologies, I didn't realize we were going to be starting with our company. So we are Root and Seed was created with the intention of helping end the loss of tradition. We want to use the age-old powers of storytelling, particularly oral storytelling, to help people rediscover the beauty and the magic of their own unique family stories, their traditions, their recipes, their heirlooms, and preserve those because for a number of just generational and social reasons, the gap between the people who are sharing the information and who are going to be moving it into the future is widening. And so a lot of it is getting lost. And we want to help people record and capture and preserve those family memories before there isn't the opportunity to do so, because you're never going to be able to find grandma's lullaby the way she sings it on YouTube, and you're never going to be able to find auntie's recipe on Pinterest. So you need to put the time into capturing it now. We did tons of research and realized that it's the conversations that are the hardest part. You can't document something you don't know. And so that's where the conversation tool started. And it started as an online mobile tool. And eventually we had a lot of people asking us like, oh, we'd love to have something physical, especially when we're having multi-generational conversations. The idea of having something tangible is really nice, especially for the elders. So that's where we created the physical conversation cards. And that's what we are putting out to market with Launch Boom on Kickstarter. And it's live right now. It's doing great.
Yes, I love it. I saw it was doing great. You guys have like way surpassed your goal. That's awesome.
For
And such
sure.
a cool mission too. I actually sent this link this morning. I originally started in social work. I don't do that anymore,
I
obviously,
didn't
but
know
I have
that.
a lot of friends who are like family therapists and stuff like that. And I think this would be a very cool tool for them to see as well to facilitate some of those conversations. So
Oh my gosh, for sure. One of the things that we realized is that especially in like families, they're not having conversations. They're talking about the weather, or what did you do for lunch, or how's your back pain. They're not talking about the things that are actually, important.
yeah,
And a lot of people don't know how to ask the questions. Oftentimes there's trauma or there's just fogginess to the memories. And so our tool is specially crafted to link between the card and the online tool to give you deeper questions to really make sure that you either get a complete story or that you're exploring it from different angles to help people start those conversations in a safe way.
yeah,
Um,
100%. And I think that different angles thing is such a key like part of that because there's so many resources for like parents or older generations on like how do you engage with your kids and what do you do, but you can also start those conversations the other way and what does it look like to ask something that's exciting and engaging. So that's awesome. I'm excited about this.
yeah.
So I would love to hear, I know it sounds like the origin of this started a little before you found Launch Boom in terms of like the digital version. What made you want to join Launch Boom, or what was sort of your pain point where you were like, okay, I want to get some other support for this?
Yeah, we started looking at Kickstarter, support organizations, classes. It was actually my mentor who recommended Launch Boom. And ironically, I had attended the crowdfunding summit or conference a couple of weeks prior to the introduction to Mark. And I don't think we ever imagined that we would be big enough to join a product accelerator and a product launch company like LaunchBoom. But as soon as we met the team, we realized that one, launching anything on Kickstarter is so much more complicated than anyone realized, and especially when you're launching something to a consumer. It doesn't matter if it's a $40 item or a $400 item, you need to plan your program wisely. And the way that LaunchBoom does things, where it has the tools and the lessons and the methodologies and the templates, it has the ability to go to office hours where not only are we talking to some really incredibly intelligent people, but I'm getting to witness other businesses at other stages of their preparation, their pre-campaign, and their actual Kickstarter launch. I learned so much from their questions that I was able to avoid making mistakes or avoid falling into those same, curiosities that probably consumed so much of their time. And so I took a lot of value in just observing office hours, even if I didn't have a ton of questions to ask myself. So I really, really love that. And just the fact that the team is always available, either through email or chat, to answer questions, weekends, nights, evening, like it doesn't matter. There's always someone, and that was really, really great.
That's awesome. I was just jotting down some notes while you're talking. Yeah, the fulfillment team is the best. They love what they do for sure and are always excited. And I heard about your campaign often from them, so I knew they were excited about it.
Oh,
and I love hearing that, you're learning from other folks in the office hours too. I think that's always the goal. So it's really nice to hear that that was a tangible practice. Well, if you, let me see, actually, was there anything that was kind of a concern for you before joining? I know you had the summit experience, which is awesome. I love to hear that because that is a big thing that me and a couple of my coworkers work on, is putting that on. So I love hearing that, you were engaged there. Was there anything that you were hesitant about before you joined or were officially deciding to join LaunchBoom that you feel like you have more clarity on now, or like is not much of a concern now?
Honestly, the methodology, as someone who's not run a Kickstarter campaign, seemed a little bit odd to me.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had enough people in my network who are like, no, you need to build a community. You need to do all of these things. I'm like, why would I spend tens of thousands of dollars trying to get leads if I can't sell them anything? And that was something really just hard for me to wrap my mind around. The sales team did a really good job of sharing case studies, of explaining the logic behind it. And the more I heard the stories, the more it started to make sense. I benefit from being a marketer from my previous life. I don't think a lot of people who create a product who don't have the marketing experience that I do realize how difficult it is to create an ad. Like I've created ads my entire life, but when you're trying to create an ad for yourself, it is that much harder. So the idea that we're now testing before we launch, we're going to be learning everything about how to optimize our audience, how to optimize our imagery, how to optimize our messaging. We're going to do that when it's cheap and like we can recover from it because it's not an official launch. That was really meaningful to me. And I don't know how to explain that to a novice, but not only did it resonate with me, like we just learned a ton that we're now applying to our business because of what we learned in testing and pre-campaign.
Yeah, that's amazing. You're right. It's hard to conceptualize until you're kind of in it in the practice, but super valuable. And especially that you had the lens of a marketer coming in, like you're already leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of people, and it can still be a big
Daunting.
process. Yeah, totally. All right. I know we only have 15 minutes. So I'm just going to ask you one more question. And then if you have anything else that you want to add or any feedback, if you had a friend, now that you've been recommended by friends and you have had this experience, if a friend was considering LaunchBoom, what would be kind of your answer or advice to them?
My recommendation would be to watch as many of the videos in advance, even if you're not in that stage yet, because as soon as you watch the videos, you can attend those office hour sessions and be that much more understanding of what the other people in the group are going through, which means that you're going to be launching something that is far less anxiety inducing. You're going to just be able to absorb so much more information from every minute of your being with the team and being with the other startup founders. I think it's tough that the world of digital marketing and Kickstarter is changing faster than you guys can create lesson plans, faster than you can update your templates. I've seen it several times where it's like, this says this and that says that, and they don't match. And it's like, well, it's because that was the way 3 weeks ago, and this is the way to do it now. So I think with that in mind, like, you can't just do the lessons and assume that it's good. Like, you need to be involved. Like, we need to stay close to the Launch Boom team at all times, because otherwise something new that might come out of their mouth is, you'd miss it. So yeah, that's what I would recommend to people. And the fact that Launch Boom makes everything so digestible and so simple is fantastic. The accessibility of the team for support is fantastic. Launch Boom is not a full service agency, and I think that might be tough for a lot of people. But if you want to do something on a tight budget, it's the best money that I think you can spend, so that you don't waste the money that you have.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm super happy to hear all of that, and that, you had such a good experience with the team and just absorbing everything else, and totally music to my ears. So I appreciate that. And is there anything else, like whether it's, positive or just notes on things you'd like to see, or any other feedback that you wanted to share?
Yeah, I think when we actually got to the point of launching our Kickstarter, what I've noticed is that a lot of people, and tell me I'm right or wrong, a lot of people start the process and then they're like, oh my gosh, this is like way too much, and they probably don't even launch the Kickstarter. So I mean, is there like a funnel of people who enter the process, but a bunch of people don't actually launch?
Yeah. So I don't have the exact stats on this. I bet our fulfillment team does, but from what I know and understand, we used to do more of a test boom process where we would have people come in regardless of the product and the marketability. If they wanted to test it, we would help them go through that process. And I think during that period, a couple of years ago, we would see, obviously, people would not test well. Now our sales team, like the folks that you spoke with, is pretty strict on if we think you're going to succeed in crowdfunding. So almost everybody that is brought in, obviously not 100% of people are going to be successful every time, but it's always people that we're fairly certain, based on their product category and the market, are going to have a fairly good shot at executing. Now, if there's things that they run into in terms of if they want to keep doing it or whatever, that's external. But anyone that joins Accelerator now has kind of been validated through that process.
Because the thing that I noticed is, like, you guys obviously know how to do everything there is to do with creating the funnel for pre-campaign and getting leads, working with Meta, making it creative, helping with photographers and videographers, and like everything up until you get to the Kickstarter. The day of launch, I've noticed like the team is amazing with it, but the actual launch, so the fact that GA4 doesn't work with Kickstarter, we only found out because I started having a conversation about something else with your head of technology. Like, why doesn't the team know that? Like, they told me to put GA4 in there, when in reality, 3 days after we launched, I had to change it back to UA. And like, so there's probably just a bunch of stuff that you guys know but aren't proactively telling people, or like our Metapixel wasn't working, and it was just like, oh, it works for other people, not sure why it doesn't work for you, you just can't optimize your ads. Like, that's not an answer.
Yeah, totally. I hear that.
Had to figure it out ourselves, but like in the stuff that has to do with the Kickstarter platform, you guys are supposed to be our advisors, you're supposed to be our consultants, you're
Yeah.
supposed to be the ones that are connected. So I just really ask that, like, we've done this whole thing with you, that last mile. like,
Yeah, no, I hear that for sure. I'm trying to write down the points. So like things on like the actual platform itself, things with the technology parts of the ads, linking, kind of having more, feeling like there's more full support there.
yeah,
Yeah,
because anything that
that
had
makes
to do with
sense.
Meta, or like your even ClickFunnels before you had your own landing page tool, there was so much support there, but any issues with Kickstarter, it's just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense to me. And I think that's valuable feedback, to share with folks as we move forward. Cause I can totally understand that that's the most critical point where you're like, I want support here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So
Totally.
thank you for sharing that with me. That's really helpful. And I'll definitely, make that part of the feedback that the team hears and can hopefully find some solutions on.
Awesome.
Amazing. Anything else that you feel like I missed or didn't capture or that I can help support?
I know the team works really closely with GelUp, and we started working with GelUp. Actually, they're launching our campaign today. GelUp has a ton of best practices. They have an ebook. They have a bunch of stuff that, like, I don't know. I think it should just be worked into the Launch Boom curriculum. It wouldn't be. I don't think it's proprietary by any stretch of the imagination, especially considering how closely the two companies work together. And if I knew before what GelUp was telling me now, it would have changed a lot.
Yeah, that's helpful to hear. Yeah, because we work closely together and we have them come on, but you're
Yeah.
right, it's not like integrated in any way. And so I can totally, that makes a lot of sense to me too. Let me just write that down. Well, super helpful. Thank you.
Awesome.
Anything else?
No, team's amazing. I would totally recommend them. I've loved just the fact that there's Justin and Hera and Soren. They all bring very different strengths to the team, and there's so much trust with them. So it's been great.
I love to hear that. And I really appreciate your additional thoughts and feedback too on ways to, improve and see what else we can do in the future. But this was great. So you'll get a Starbucks card to your email right after this as a thank you for your time from me, just because I know these requests can take up time on your calendar and I want to say thank you. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you, so I've been taking notes this conversation and I can kind of send you a summary of your feedback and obviously you can look at it and make sure it feels accurate. If you would be able to upload these thoughts onto Trustpilot. So it's a third-party website that sort of helps folks know that like this was validated and these are folks that have worked. And so we can tell our story a little better so that when people are doing their research on LaunchBoom, they can hear about the experiences that people had.
I love it. If you've taken the notes, I'm happy to
Yes.
submit them.
Yes, I have. Awesome. I will send that over to you in an email as well. And if you ever need anything LaunchBoom wise at all, you have my email now. So if there's thoughts or feedback or anything that I can help get you connected to, definitely always feel like you can reach out.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Jennifer. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.